So Russell Crowe is in this film called The Exorcism. And I was like, okay, this has to have something to do with the Pope's exorcism. So I got done with the Pope's exorcism, did some further research. That shit has nothing to do with the exorcism. I watched both of these goddamn movies, and damn it, somebody gonna hear about both of them. So let's get into it.
U-GeekTV.
Welcome back to U-GeekTV. I'm your host, Jarius Unapologetic Geek, and we're here for another Unapologetic review. But this time, this one is a twofer. We're going to talk about the Pope's Exorcist, and we're going to talk about the Exorcism. On the front end, I'm going to give my verdicts for both films, and on the back end, I'm going to dog these movies out. I'm just telling you, and I need spoilers in order to do that because I have some things to say. So let's get into those spoiler-free reviews first. The Pope's Exorcist is the better film between the two of them, hands down. I like the atmosphere of the Pope's Exorcist. Like, it reminded me a little bit of The Omen and the first Omen, which I saw earlier this year, which, by the way, definitely go and watch that shit. They kind of share those 80s sensibilities. The Pope's Exorcist is set in the 80s. The first Omen was also set in or was it the 70s? Maybe the 80s. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But anyway, moving on. They do atmosphere well in the Pope's Exorcist, and it has a better plot than what we find in the Exorcism as well. The Exorcism is slow as slow can be. Like it is a oh my God, it is a chore to get through that film. It's a lot of nothing that happens, but when it is creepy, like atmospherically, it does well with that creep factor. But one thing that both films have in common is once we get to the reveal of everything that's going on, everything just really falls apart and it both become cluttered messes, especially in their respective third acts. It's just it's whatever. So my verdicts are as follows. The Pope's Exorcist gets a 2 out of 5, which is a unapologetically basic as fuck. The Exorcism gets a 1 out of 5, which is some unapologetic bullshit. Neither of these films are really worth your time, and you'll be better for it not having looked at them. With that said, let's get to the spoiler reviews or discussions. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these. I'm not really going to do a recap like I have in like past spoiler reviews. I just have to let it be known the ridiculous shit that happens in both films. First up is the Pope's Exorcist. Again, they have the better setup of the two films here. The grand reveal is that the spirit or demon that's haunting the family that the Pope's Exorcist, played by Russell Crowe, is going after, it is this like super demon, for a lack of a way of putting it. This bastard is able to not only possess multiple people at once, which when you find this out, it sets up for a cool spot where the demon possesses the children in the story. I thought that was well done and something kind of unique. That, you know, well, no, it's not unique because, god damn it, we kind of saw this in Exorcist Believer. But anyways, yeah, being able to pull off a multiple possession, like, what's that? It's like an S-tier demon that's able to do that. So for the sake of this conversation, we'll say that he is an S-tier demon and he's able to do that shit. But not only is that cool, like, they had to do, you find out the Vatican had to call in like a super exorcism on this demon, and the demon's badass master plan was to possess people within the church and destroy the Catholic Church from the inside through the vessels of different people they possessed. And one of them is like another super exorcist. He possessed him, and what the Vatican basically said was everyone who was possessed, they're gonna go into like this underground chamber. If they can't get the demons out of everyone, then they're just gonna seal everybody and make this essentially a crypt. And so the possession stops with those people. Well, this creature is strong as hell. This demon is strong as hell, and its presence is still alive within that tomb that it's in under our protagonist's house. And it wants to get out. And then comes Father Amarth, who is played by Russell Crowe, and he decides to take on what possibly is the greatest demon in possession history. And long story short, some kind of way, hell opens up. It gets really campy and cheesy, and I'm a fan of camp and cheese in some regards, but this shit was just some bullshit. And there's this kind of drawn out fight, and you essentially I found myself dejected. And I'm over this. I hate when a film does slightly well in the first two acts and it seems like they ran out of ideas or they had to hurry up and wrap things up. And this ending just feels like it feels rushed and kind of messy and kind of stupid. And it's just a no for me. This film is a no. And I was like, okay, maybe it's a good thing that they're not connected to each other, the Pope's Exorcist and the Exorcism. And maybe the Exorcism has some things going for it that the Pope's Exorcist doesn't have. So I'm going in optimistic, thinking that it's possible that I have a good time. And boy, was I fucking wrong, because the Exorcism, so far, the Exorcism is the worst movie I've seen this year, I feel. I know Good Times, the reboot, it wasn't a movie, it was a TV show. It has the worst review I've given this year. But in terms of worst film, yeah, right now the Exorcism has that, because the Exorcism is just kind of stupid. And it has a good concept. So let's get into that. Now, the Exorcism is about a man by the name of Anthony Miller, played by Russell Crowe, who's a struggling actor who's had, substance abuse issues. He's trying to get back into acting, and he lands this role that sees him play a priest, and he's trying to perform an exorcism or whatever. So it's like a movie within a movie. I very much got Wes Craven New Nightmare vibes from this one. It's a movie that's happening within a movie that's being shot and produced. I appreciated that. Another positive that I have is Russell Crowe can carry anything. His acting was superb in The Pope's Exorcist, and his acting is superb in The Exorcism. Both films, he gives it the best he has with what he has, and he excels in that. Seriously, this man reminds you that he's a class act, and he is one of the greatest actors of our time. You feel all the emotion, you feel the creepiness that he exudes and pulls off. Everything that Russell Crowe wants you to feel in both of these films, you feel it. So long story short with this one, you find out that Anthony Miller, he had some issues with the Catholic Church. There was an incident or some incidents that happened. You're led to believe that it's of the SA or S abuse in nature, whatever it was that he went through, and this is haunting him, and you get a sense that this is why he drank and he smoked, to get away from these things. He has a daughter that he's a bit estranged from. She's trying to help him kind of get back on his feet, but she's kind of over his shit because of the issues he's had with being in and out of her life growing up. So she's having some difficulty kind of building that trust with him and moving forward with their relationship. But there is a very interesting setup inside of this. Honestly, it's an interesting movie fighting to get out and to be made. And it's a shame that the film really doesn't fulfill on the promise of what it sets up early. You find out that Anthony Miller really got into acting because he had a crisis of faith due to what happened to him when he was younger. And again, it's not gratuitous. It's not kind of like in your face, the references to the abuse or anything like that. It's referenced, it's strongly implied, But then you get to what the big twist was. It wasn't abuse in the sense that you think or you're kind of led to believe. The priest that's at the center of the abuse that Anthony Miller suffered in this film, he actually appeared to worship a demon. And he made Anthony drink from a chalice of blood and perform a ritual with him. And so this turns everything on its head. Now, demonic possession is used as a vehicle to convey the trauma of abuse, which that's completely unique. And I was all behind that as a concept, as well as how it was executed here up until a point. And you find out that drinking is what helped Anthony stave off the demon that was inside of him. Well done. It's just too bad that the movie is so fucking slow. By the time you find out all of this, you're halfway checked out and you have no faith that they can pull all of this together. And it's a shame too, because again, this is a really good concept. And the film is not that long. So if your film isn't long and you're still dragging, oh my God. One thing that I believe that I brought up with several films at this point is pacing. Like, come on, just get on with it. And the Exorcism does not just get on with it. And it hurts the film so much. You're going back and forth between possession scenes and what's going on and you know, what's real and what's not, what's psychological, and just tell the story. It's a straight line sometimes. Sometimes just going straight forward is the best way to go. And the Exorcism just takes so long to get to its ultimate point. Something else that's funny here too. I absolutely believe that it's in Russell Crowe's contract not to be the person that dies in a film. Like, unless it's a heroic death like Gladiator. Because the demon is in him. They make a situation to where the actual priest in the film that's performing the exorcism on him takes the demon on, and then Anthony kills that character. And I'm like, Russell Crowe had to have had it in his contract that he doesn't die in any of his movies. So I thought that was funny. And it's kind of obvious because that's the only way that writing could even make sense. But ultimately, man, this movie is trash and it's not worth checking out anyway. So again, I watched it so you wouldn't have to. You're welcome. So the Pope's Exorcist and the Exorcism. Did you see either of these pieces of bullshit? If you did, let me know what you thought in the comments. Continue to like, continue to share, continue to subscribe. Thank you for everything you've done. I'm so appreciative of your time and viewership. Really, it means a lot to me. Until next time, I'm Jarius, the Unapologetic Geek, and I am out.